Techno Tinkers. This is Rebecca here, and I'm here to provide you a tutorial to go ahead and make one of these lovely cloth masks with elastic ear rings. So as I'm sure you all are aware, these masks are actually becoming a little more required around this time that the video is coming out. So I am going to go ahead and show you how everything from cutting out the fabric, putting in a filter on the inside, as well as how I sew the whole thing together. So let's get started. So to get us started, we're going to go ahead and pick out a fabric, or rather a few fabrics. I actually have quite a few that have been donated by people who have been wanting some of these masks, but for today's video we're actually going to go ahead and focus on a little patch I have here. It's actually an order for a half and half mask, and this will be the backing. Now that we have our fabrics picked out, we can go ahead and cut these out. But first we're going to need a pattern. Now to go ahead and make our patterns, we're actually going to start off with a paper. I'd recommend using something like construction paper or cardstock. This way it can hold its shape a little bit better than just floppy paper. And what you are going to do is you're going to want to get a basic shape like this. From here, make two of them and have them taped right in the middle, so you can get a basic shape to your face. For this, you want to make sure it does cover up the nose as well as all the way down to the bottom of the chin to the best of your ability, making sure that it doesn't disturb the eyes as much, and to leave enough space that it can reach up to your ear. From this, now that we have our base shape, we are going to trace it and add enough on each of the edge so that we have enough spare fabric for when we sew it. This back end here can actually be extended to as far as you want it to, just depends on the face and size. Once you have these, you'll be set to go. All right, now that we have our material picked out and our pattern at the ready, it's time to finally cut out our fabrics. Once you have it all cut, you should have a nice lovely, this is a right side here. Usually you can tell with some fabrics what's the inside and the outside. Some of them you cannot, so it's best to keep track while you can. Now let's do the other side. Since we are going to use this as well, assuming this is going to be your outside part, we're actually going to go ahead and use now our newest cut bit to go ahead and match these up to as close to the same size. Now that we've got that, we separate them now. Should have an even right and left side. You can pin these together and have them on the side, but I'm actually going to keep them unpinned for now while I do the inside. Lay out one side here. Since it's going to be the same on both sides, we're just going to cut straight through. Now that we have all four of our fabric pieces together, we can go ahead and start our sewing process. From here, you're going to go ahead and separate your front pieces, what will be on the front side, as well as what will be on your back side. As well, for later on, we are going to need some hair ties or elastic bands for the sides of the mask. Now, this is just something that I use personally. If you'd like to use things like a ribbon or other kinds of fabric, strings, or anything like that, you are free to go ahead and do so. This is just my personal preference. They do sell large ones that are a little more comfortable to use than some of these smaller hair ties. The first things that we're going to go ahead and do is sew up the edges here, which are technically the front of the mask, the very front of the mask. And we're going to do it for both sides, and then we'll move on from there. Make sure your fabrics are inside out from either side. Of course, you can't tell from this one, but make sure that they are inside out so that your pattern that you want outside is on the inner parts of this little pocket here. There we go. Now with this front part done, I'm going to go ahead and do the back part. Okay, now we have the inside of our mask as well as our outside of the mask. If you are wanting just a simple mask with no filter, you can go ahead and move on from here. Otherwise, we are actually going to go ahead and make a pocket. Pick a corner here, and we're just going to make a fairly straight line going from this point all the way to the other end. And then we're going to flip it around and put it the other way to close it up. There we go. Now I'm not sure how well you can see it, but you can see that there is a little bit of a imprint here now. Before we go ahead and cut it open, we're going to go ahead and tie this off. There we go. Now once you have this part all cut off and clean, all you have to do now is go ahead and make your cut. I try to make this as central as possible. And there we go. So now we have a little pocket that we will be using for the rest of our pattern here. All right, now that we have our back piece fully constructed with pocket and all, and we have our front piece here ready to go, now it is time to put them together. Go ahead and do so. Make sure that wherever your inside part is facing inside, and we're just going to drape this on top. From here, you can go ahead and line up the corners. So now, as you can see, we have these little flaps on the outside of our mask. We are going to want to keep it like this while we do our sewing process as we finish up our edge pieces here. Before we start sewing, it is important to go ahead and mention that since we are going to be adding elastic bands at the ends here, that you are going to want to leave maybe about 1.5 centimeters or maybe even 1 inch of space to make sure that you have enough space to sew your elastics in. Should have all of our top piece all sewn together, as well as the bottom all together in one piece. So you should only have the end bits here. Now it is time to go ahead and add in our elastic band. Now that we have our elastic bands on, I'm going to go ahead and just tie off your last little bits here, and then we will flip it inside out. Now for the final step of our mask. Inserting the coffee filter. Tuck in that nose, and your mask should be all set and ready to go. And there you have it. Now, of course, since this mask isn't actually for me, I'm not going to wear it. This is my own personal mask here, and this one is for my brother. But this is now how you can make your own fabric mask. Once you go ahead and get this idea down, it's actually a very, very simple everything that I do in this video is also something you can do with hand sewing as well. Of course, it will take a lot longer, but once you have the basics down from here, you can go ahead and add in any designs or any additional details that you want to the mat. But that will be everything for today. I do hope that this is able to help you out. Now with everything said and done, of course, I do hope that you enjoyed the video. If you'd like to see some more content like this, go ahead and subscribe. And if you happen to have any other ideas or anything that you'd like me to go ahead and try out, feel free to leave a comment and a like. But I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all later. It's Rebecca signing out.